Scano Sewaguego Claudette, I decided to do a video for your feedback. I'd like you to please keep in mind that this is the first critical annotated bibliography I've ever created myself in this project, so please keep that in mind. I don't know much about giving feedback, but here goes. First of all, the audio track that you included was a nice touch. It's sort of like being at your presentation without actually being there. Being a math resource teacher myself, I was excited to read about your project, and I'm thrilled that you created this tool for your math group. I'm anxious to learn more about the running records, but I suppose that is another conversation for another time. I find it interesting that Indigenous ways of knowing, specifically learning by observing and storytelling, are what we are turning to, as these have always been relevant to us as Indigenous people. I've seen different new models come up in math that speak to teaching the whole child. As an Indigenous teacher, this is what I do automatically. I teach the whole child, and included in that are asking questions orally and allowing students the time they need to answer that question. I was intrigued by the marking matrix you referenced, and I wish there was more included about it, but I was glad you included the conclusions from the article, especially point number 3. That says that teachers need to embrace the context students provide. Oral tests allow us to do this because students have the freedom to fully explain their thinking. Pencil and paper tests do not necessarily allow for this as easily. The article on dialogue and feedback just reinforces how important oral assessment is for students and teachers alike. I was happy to see the making assessment practices valid for Indigenous American students is written from an Indigenous perspective. It gives an entire new level to the ways of thinking and knowing. What is alarming is the article is from 2007, making it 11 years old. In the formative assessment, not just another test article, I could not agree more with point number 2, the implications stemming from the study. It said most schools overemphasize grading rather than making goals and stages of learning explicit for students as instructions improve. I believe our students would do much better and they'd be much more successful in school if we went gradeless. As a matter of fact, last year I did ask my principal if I could leave all the math grades blank and let the parents read about their students' success in the comments section. Again, another conversation for another time. I believe you've checked all the boxes and the required elements in the guide that was provided to us. Your writing is fluid and easy to read. One of the things that you did that I wish I did in my own project was to include if the author was Indigenous or not. So I appreciated you doing that. The only critical feedback I have for you are the dates of your articles. They range from 2007 to 2010. It's a little frustrating knowing that traditional forms of assessment do not work for our kids, yet teachers continue to use them. I really enjoyed reading your work, and being a mathy myself, I understand and feel your pain. We need to include different ways for assessment for our students, for our kids, if we want them to be more successful in math and just successful overall in school in general. I really enjoyed reading your work, Claudette, and I hope you have a great winter break. Nyawa, onigiwahi.